and the one who played his wife. We're going to put them in a series of their...
You met Andy Griffith because of this building. Is that right? Yeah. This building, 30 Rockefeller Plaza, the iconic broadcasting hub in New York City. A place that would unknowingly become the gateway to one of television's most beloved friendships and collaborations. When the Andy Griffith Show premiered on October 3, 1960, it quickly carved its place into American households. Audiences were introduced to a small town called Mayberry, and at its comedic heart was Don Knotts, playing Deputy Barney Fife. His charm, nervous energy, and impeccable timing made him unforgettable. But after 5 seasons, Don Knotts decided to move on. And he wasn't the only one. Over time, several cast members left, leaving fans curious about the reasons behind their departures. Before his death in 2006, Don finally shed light on the real story behind the exits. So, what really happened behind the scenes of Mayberry? The Andy Griffith Show was far more than just another sitcom. From the moment it aired, it became the heartbeat of American living rooms. Year after year, it held its ground in the Nielsen ratings, never dropping below 7th place. By the time it ended in 1968, it had climbed to number 1. Its appeal was simple but profound. Mayberry, the fictional North Carolina town, felt like a place viewers already knew. Slow mornings, familiar faces, and an easygoing simplicity made it a sanctuary from the chaos of real life. At the center was Sheriff Andy Taylor, portrayed by Andy Griffith. His calm, steady hand guided the town, often rescuing citizens from their own harmless misadventures. And then there was Barney Fife, portrayed by Don Knotts, whose over-the-top attempts at law enforcement brought chaos and laughter. Other beloved characters included Goober Pyle, the lovable gas station attendant, Otis, the endearingly wayward town drunk, and of course, Opie Taylor, the mischievous son of the sheriff. Each character contributed to Mayberry's timeless charm. Jesse Donald Knotts didn't just stumble into comedy, he grew into it. Born on July 21, 1924, in Morgantown, West Virginia, he was a restless, creative child, performing in church basements and school halls with a ventriloquist dummy and a handful of jokes. After a brief stint at West Virginia University and serving in the Army during World War II as part of a GI variety show, Knotts honed his comedic skills. By 1948, New York City became his playground, offering him opportunities in early television and radio. Everything changed in 1955 when he starred on Broadway in No Time for Sergeants. This role introduced him to Andy Griffith, sparking a professional chemistry that would define both their careers. Later, The Steve Allen Show gave him consistent exposure, cementing his timing and performance style. Barney Fife wasn't simply written into the Andy Griffith Show, he was born from Knotts' instincts. After seeing Andy on The Danny Thomas Show, Knotts reached out with the idea of a deputy to complement the small-town sheriff. Andy Griffith, trusting Knotts' instincts, pushed the idea to executive producer Sheldon Leonard. The result? A dynamic that reshaped the show. Andy became the comm center, while Barney Fife became the whirlwind, providing much of the comedic energy. Barney's nervous confidence, bluster, and accidental heroism made him a cultural icon. Knotts won 4 Emmys for the role, and his timing turned each misstep into unforgettable comedy. In 1964, Knotts stepped into films, taking leading roles in comedies like The Incredible Mr. Limpet, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, The Reluctant Astronaut, and The Shakiest Gun in the West. These roles showcased his quirky charm and extended his appeal beyond the small screen. By the 1970s, Hollywood's changing tone pushed him toward family-friendly and offbeat roles. The Apple Dumpling Gang paired him with Tim Conway, proving his timeless appeal. Later, he returned to television, notably as Mr. Furley on Three's Company, before reuniting with Mayberry for Return to Mayberry and guest roles on Matlock. Knotts' career was defined not just by his talent, but by resilience, adaptability, and a commitment to both comedy and humanity. Despite the laughs, the set of Mayberry wasn't without friction. Frances Bavier, who played Aunt Bee, struggled with the role that overshadowed her personal identity. She resented being sidelined and felt tension toward the leads, Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. Eleanor Donahue, who played Ellie Walker, faced her own challenges. At 23, a young divorcee juggling a demanding role, she found herself pushed into the background as writers favored Barney Fife's explosive comedy. Health struggles and stress eventually led to her leaving the show, highlighting the pressure behind the seemingly idyllic set. Even Jack Burns, brought in to replace Don Knotts temporarily, struggled to fit into a world built for Barney Fife. His character, Warren Ferguson, never resonated, proving how central Knotts was to the show's chemistry. Don Knotts left after 5 seasons, officially for a detective role in Raleigh and a pursuit of film opportunities. But the deeper truth involved pay discrepancies and contract issues. While Andy Griffith had majority ownership and profited immensely, Knotts earned a modest $1,250 per episode. Attempts to renegotiate failed due to miscommunication and timing. Knotts chose to leave for financial and creative freedom, never returning as a regular. Still, he maintained guest appearances and a lasting friendship with Griffith. Other departures, like Eleanor Donahue and temporary cast replacements, reflected the challenges of balancing ambition, health, and the pressures of stardom. Off-screen, Knotts was very different from Barney Fife. Known for charm, magnetic personality, and a quiet, thoughtful side, he navigated personal struggles with grace. He married 3 times, raising his daughter Karen amid a rising Hollywood career. He faced hypochondria and later macular degeneration but approached life with understated humor. Friends described him as gentle, reserved, and very different from his jittery on-screen persona. Even late in life, Knotts continued to leave an impression, including a posthumous revelation in 2025 that he and Ron Howard were distant cousins, adding a whimsical twist to his story. Don Knotts passed away on February 24, 2006, leaving behind a legacy of laughter and resilience. He was honored with a bronze plaque on his grave, a statue in Morgantown, West Virginia, and a place forever in the hearts of fans. Barney Fife remains one of television's most enduring characters, a testament to Knotts' talent and humanity. His story reminds us that behind every iconic role is a real person navigating challenges, triumphs, and quiet acts of kindness. Mayberry might have been fictional, but Don Knotts' impact was very real, shaping the way audiences experience humor, heart, and human connection. The Andy Griffith Show continues to resonate decades later. The charm of Mayberry, the genius of Don Knotts, and the heart of Andy Griffith live on. Fans remember the laughter, the lessons, and the warmth of small-town life, but behind it all was the story of people, real people, navigating careers, ambition, and friendship. Don Knotts' story is more than the story of a character, it's a story of perseverance, kindness, and a life dedicated to bringing joy. Were you a fan of the Andy Griffith Show? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and click the next video on your screen, you'll enjoy it. Andy Griffith wasn't just the face of the show, he was the quiet anchor behind its success. His vision for Mayberry went beyond jokes and slapstick, he wanted to depict a town built on kindness, trust, and simple joys. He believed in giving the audience characters they could relate to, flaws and all. Andy's calm, steady performance created a safe space for chaos to unfold, whether it was Barney Fife fumbling through law enforcement or Otis stumbling out of the jail. Behind the camera, Griffith was known for his playful sense of humor, often teasing cast members to keep the energy light. Yet, his personal relationships with his co-stars were complicated. While he shared genuine camaraderie with Don Knotts, his interactions with Frances Bavier and others sometimes highlighted the challenges of navigating egos, personalities, and creative differences in a long-running series. Frances Bavier's Aunt Bee became the moral center of Mayberry, a character whose warmth and steadiness counterbalanced the town's chaos. But behind the apron, her reality was quite different. For years, she felt overshadowed by her more comedic co-stars. Praise and recognition often went to the leads, leaving her feeling invisible. The frustration built quietly, manifesting in tension with the cast and crew. She eventually sought therapy to cope with the pressure and the identity strain of being so closely tied to a single role. Years later, near the end of her life, she reconciled with Andy Griffith, admitting she wished they had gotten along better. It was a poignant reminder that even in a perfect small town, real human struggles existed just beneath the surface. Ron Howard, who played Andy Taylor's son Opie, experienced Mayberry differently from the adults. He was a child star navigating the pressures of fame while also growing up in a fictional world that audiences adored. Howard later reflected on how the set shaped him, teaching discipline, timing, and the subtle art of working with veteran actors. While he enjoyed the camaraderie, he also witnessed the friction behind the scenes, which gave him early lessons in professionalism and empathy. His journey from Opie to director of acclaimed films like Apollo 13 and A Beautiful Mind is a testament to the foundation Mayberry provided, both on-screen and off. Barney Fife wasn't just a funny character, he was a finely tuned comedic machine. Every twitch, stutter, and panicked glance was meticulously crafted by Knotts. What made Barney resonate was his humanity underneath the comedy. He was insecure, eager to prove himself, and desperately trying to impress everyone around him. Yet, despite all his flaws, he was brave when it counted. Episodes like Jailbreak and Andy on Trial revealed Barney's heart, showing audiences that courage and loyalty often hide behind nervous energy. It was this perfect balance that cemented Don Knotts as one of television's greatest comedic talents. While his on-screen persona was jittery and anxious, Don Knotts faced very real personal challenges. Severe hypochondria and a degenerative eye disease shaped his life off-camera, yet he faced these with humor and resilience. His ability to compartmentalize his personal struggles from his performances speaks volumes about his professionalism and dedication. Colleagues consistently remarked on his gentleness and generosity, contrasting sharply with Barney Fife's frantic energy. These hidden struggles add depth to Knotts' story, showing that even in laughter, there are human battles quietly fought behind the scenes. Mayberry's scripts often struggled to create substantial roles for women. Eleanor Donahue's experience as Ellie Walker highlights this challenge. Initially given witty, engaging lines, her role was gradually minimized to accommodate Barney Fife's rising comedic influence. Her departure underscores a systemic issue in early television, the sidelining of female characters despite their talent and presence. Knotts' supportive gesture, checking on her during illness, contrasted with the general lack of attention from other cast members, further emphasizing the isolating nature of the set for women. Beyond the characters, The Andy Griffith Show was a network of personal relationships, some close, others strained. Jim Nabors, Ron Howard, and Don Knotts formed bonds that lasted decades, while others, like Frances Bavier, struggled with the environment. Even directors like Howard Morris had to tread carefully on set, navigating temperaments and egos. These dynamics created tension but also contributed to the show's authenticity, as genuine personalities often infused scenes with unspoken reality. While fans saw humor and heart, the financial reality was starkly uneven. Andy Griffith's contract gave him ownership stakes and significant earnings, while Don Knotts received a fixed weekly salary. By the end of his run, Knotts realized the discrepancy was too great. Despite carrying much of the comedic weight, his financial rewards were modest compared to the immense success of the show. This realization ultimately pushed him to pursue Hollywood films and greater creative freedom. Leaving Mayberry allowed Knotts to explore diverse roles in film and television. Movies like The Ghost and Mr. Chicken and The Reluctant Astronaut showcased his physical comedy and timing, proving he could thrive outside the small-town world. Television roles, including Three's Company and guest appearances on Matlock, allowed him to reconnect with audiences while adapting to changing trends in entertainment. Each project reinforced his versatility and cemented his reputation as a timeless performer. Mayberry endures because it offered more than laughs, it gave viewers a sense of belonging. The town, its characters, and the humor created a world audiences could escape to, week after week. Don Knotts, through Barney Fife, became a symbol of imperfection, courage, and heart. Fans remember him not just as a comic, but as someone whose timing, kindness, and professionalism shaped generations of comedy. Even decades later, the show remains a staple of television nostalgia, illustrating the lasting impact of well-crafted characters and dedicated performers. After years away, Don Knotts returned to the Mayberry family for the 1986 TV movie Return to Mayberry. fans were thrilled to see Barney Fife back in action, older but still jittery, now serving as the town's acting sheriff. The film captured the nostalgia and warmth of the original series while showing the characters in new stages of life. For Knotts, it was a chance to revisit a world he had helped define, reconnecting with Andy Griffith and the cast in a more reflective, affectionate way. This reunion reminded audiences that Mayberry was more than a TV show, it was a living memory, a shared experience that transcended decades. Even after leaving as a regular, Knotts never fully abandoned Mayberry. He appeared in guest roles on The Andy Griffith Show seasons 6 to 8 and on Mayberry RFD, ensuring that Barney's presence remained felt. Each cameo captured the essence of the character, bumbling, enthusiastic, and heartfelt. These appearances offered continuity for fans and allowed Knotts to maintain his connection to the show without being bound by a full-time contract. It also highlighted his professionalism. He could step in at a moment's notice and deliver the same energy that made Barney Fife legendary. In the late 1980s, Knotts reunited with Griffith on Matlock, playing a nosy neighbor with his signature comic timing. The show offered him a chance to explore a different dynamic, blending humor with subtle character work. For audiences, it was comforting to see the two legends together again. Their chemistry, built over decades, remained intact, proving that some professional bonds transcend time, distance, and the challenges of Hollywood. Don Knotts faced numerous personal battles, from hypochondria to macular degeneration. Despite these challenges, he continued performing with remarkable dedication. Colleagues described him as gentle, kind, and quietly resilient. Off-screen, he was nothing like the frantic Barney Fife, calm, charming, and deeply thoughtful. These struggles shaped him, making his comedic genius even more impressive. Every nervous gesture and comic misstep on screen was rooted in a man who had mastered control over his own anxieties. After Knotts' passing in 2006, fans and colleagues honored his legacy. Westwood Memorial Park became his final resting place, and in 2011, a bronze plaque immortalized his contributions to television. In 2016, a statue sculpted by Jamie Lester was unveiled outside the Metropolitan Theater in Morgantown, West Virginia, celebrating the man who brought laughter and heart into millions of homes. These tributes reflect Knotts' enduring impact. He wasn't just a performer, but a figure whose work shaped comedy, television, and cultural memory. Barney Fife remains one of television's most beloved characters. His nervous energy, bluster, and accidental heroics defined a type of comedy that resonates even today. Barney became a cultural touchstone, referenced in shows, films, and comedy sketches across generations. The character proved that flawed, anxious, yet fundamentally good-hearted individuals could capture the hearts of millions. Through Barney, Knotts demonstrated that comedy wasn't just about laughs, it was about timing, empathy, and understanding human nature. Mayberry endures because it offered something rare, humanity. In a world increasingly fast-paced and cynical, it showed that kindness, humor, and patience could thrive. The show also offers lessons about collaboration, ambition, and professional integrity. Don Knotts' story illustrates the importance of recognizing your worth, navigating contracts, and balancing ambition with loyalty. Meanwhile, the dynamics among cast members highlight the human cost of fame, fame's inequalities, and the value of empathy. These lessons remain relevant for creators, performers, and audiences today. Fans have shared countless stories about how The Andy Griffith Show influenced their lives. Many recall Saturday mornings or early evenings spent laughing with family, seeing in Mayberry a reflection of simpler times. Barney Fife's antics weren't just comedic, they provided comfort, a reminder that imperfection could be charming and even heroic. Knotts' work touched hearts beyond the screen, leaving a legacy of joy, nostalgia, and life lessons. Hollywood changed rapidly in the 1970s and 1980s. Knotts navigated these shifts with skill, transitioning from Mayberry to films, variety shows, and other TV series. His ability to reinvent himself while maintaining his comedic identity set him apart. Whether in Disney films, family comedies, or guest appearances, Knotts remained relevant without compromising the charm that made him famous. This adaptability is part of what keeps his work timeless. Ultimately, Don Knotts' story is a testament to the human side of comedy. Behind the jittery gestures and stammering delivery was a man who understood timing, empathy, and emotional truth. He turned vulnerability into laughter, showing that comedy isn't just entertainment, it's a reflection of human experience. Every nervous tick and blunder carried a spark of authenticity, making his characters unforgettable. After the Andy Griffith Show ended, Mayberry lived on in Mayberry RFD, a spin-off that followed new characters while keeping the town's familiar charm. Don Knotts made occasional appearances, reminding viewers that Barney Fife was still part of Mayberry's heartbeat. These moments bridged old fans with new viewers, proving that Mayberry's warmth and humor transcended generations. Though Knotts was no longer a regular, his presence was enough to maintain continuity and nostalgia, showing the enduring appeal of the characters he helped define. Don Knotts' influence extended beyond the screen. On set, he served as a mentor to younger actors, teaching timing, improvisation, and the subtleties of physical comedy. Ron Howard often recalled Knotts' generosity and patience, how he would quietly guide actors through scenes, helping them find the humor in small gestures. Knotts' mentorship shaped the next generation of performers, leaving an imprint on television comedy far beyond Mayberry itself. Though Don Knotts won 4 Emmy Awards for his role as Barney Fife, his recognition went beyond trophies. Industry peers consistently praised his comedic timing, professionalism, and ability to elevate any scene. Hollywood knew Knotts as more than a TV actor, he was a performer who could adapt to any medium, from stage to film to television. His work became a benchmark for physical comedy, inspiring countless comedians who followed in his footsteps. Away from cameras, Knotts lived a surprisingly private life. He enjoyed social outings, maintained friendships, and pursued hobbies with the same meticulous attention he brought to his craft. Despite his jittery on-screen persona, he was charming, calm, and composed off-screen. Friends often noted the contrast between Barney Fife's chaos and Knotts' quiet confidence, a duality that made his comedic genius even more impressive. Knotts' career was remarkable not just for the laughs he created, but for how he navigated personal challenges. Hypochondria, degenerative eye disease, and later macular degeneration could have derailed his career. Yet, he continued performing with remarkable skill, turning anxiety into artistry. His struggles made his success even more extraordinary, a testament to resilience, talent, and the ability to transform life's obstacles into comic brilliance. Even decades later, Barney Fife remains a cultural icon. He represents the joy of imperfection, the charm of anxiety, and the comedy of earnest effort gone awry. Knotts' portrayal ensured that Barney wasn't just a character, he became a symbol of the human experience. Audiences saw themselves in his mistakes, laughed at his blunders, and cheered his rare victories. This timeless appeal ensures Barney Fife will continue to resonate for generations. In his later years, Knotts enjoyed quieter moments, reflecting on his career and relationships. He married Frances Yarborough in 2002, finding companionship and comfort until his passing in 2006. His death from pneumonia compounded by lung cancer marked the end of an era, but his legacy was firmly cemented. The humor, heart, and humanity he brought to television continued to inspire actors, writers, and fans worldwide. Following his death, the tributes poured in. Co-stars remembered him as gentle, thoughtful, and deeply funny. Fans celebrated the countless hours of joy he had brought into homes across America. Statues, plaques, and memorials continue to honor Knotts' contributions, ensuring that even new generations can discover the genius behind Barney Fife. His work is studied, referenced, and adored, not just for laughs, but for the heart and authenticity he brought to every performance. Mayberry isn't just nostalgia, it's a reminder of a world built on kindness, humor, and human connection. The small-town charm, combined with characters like Barney Fife, offers lessons about empathy, patience, and laughter. For modern audiences, Mayberry teaches that even in chaos, heart and humanity prevail. Don Knotts' legacy ensures these lessons are delivered with humor, warmth, and a gentle touch. Don Knotts' story reminds us that behind every beloved character is a real person, navigating challenges, triumphs, and the complexities of life. From a small-town kid in West Virginia to a comedic legend, Knotts transformed nervous energy into joy, mistakes into laughter, and anxiety into art. Barney Fife may have been the character audiences loved, but Don Knotts was the man who made it unforgettable. His life, career, and influence endure, not just in Mayberry, but in the countless hearts he touched, the comedians he inspired, and the timeless legacy of laughter he left behind.